It's day 50 of drawing Wynella Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we're discussing Barker and Tallery. One interesting aspect of these two characters that I've noticed is how they utilize touch. By far, Barker and Tallery are our most touchy characters, but it's for two very different reasons. Tallery is quick to get close and be emotionally open with those around her. As such, she feels no problem touching a friend's shoulder to offer support. She'll grab someone's hand to lead them. She'll place a hand to someone's back to make sure they know she's there for them. When Tallery utilizes touch, she does so in order to comfort the person she extends the touch to. Barker, on the other hand, uses touch as a way to mimic all the closeness to the people around him, but he's not often open and authentic, so it feels forced. It's a manipulation tactic to try and trick people into believing that he's more trustworthy than he is. He learned this behavior from his parent, but obviously his father was much less healthy than Tallery's parents. Check back in tomorrow to see what characters I draw next, and if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. Hi there, Denim here. I'm the creator of Wynella Mooshie, and it's day 51 of drawing Wynella Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we're talking about the premise of our show as we draw our main title characters. Wynella Mooshie is all about Mooshie, a small mushroom child lost and looking for his family. He's just a baby, so he has no clue how to tackle the massive task of locating his missing family. Mooshie crosses paths with Wynella, a solitary beekeeping witch, and he enlists her help to find his folks. Wynella agrees to the quest in a very begrudging manner, but her sense of duty compels her to help the child even if her brain says she has no obligation. Together, this unlikely duo travels their world in search of Mooshie's family, all while handling the numerous magical obstacles that stand in their way. From snaky salesmen to fairies and sirens, Wynella and Mooshie must work together to overcome these obstacles as they return Mooshie to his mushroom family, where he belongs. Check back in tomorrow to see what character I draw next, and if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. It's day 52 of drawing Wynella and Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we're talking about the very first antagonist in our series, the Forager. The Forager has a very important narrative job of getting Wynella to be invested in what happens to Mooshie. Wynella is of the firm belief that if it isn't her pig, then it's not her farm. She has no responsibility over Mooshie, so she could hardly care less what happens to him. That is until the Forager enters the scene. The Forager is the first person that Wynella sees Mooshie interact with, and as much as she thinks the child isn't her problem, she knows a danger when she sees one. If it were not for the fact that Wynella felt directly inclined to interject Mooshie and the Forager's interaction, none of our series would occur. Wynella felt the obligation to attempt to save the child from a perceived immediate threat, and that's what landed Mooshie under Wynella's care long enough for him to explain his situation to her. Check back in tomorrow to see what character I draw next. And if this character seems interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. Welcome to day 53 of drawing Wynella and Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we'll be drawing Tallery and her father Sterling. Tallery is very close with all of her parents, but Sterling understands her on an extra level. Both struggle with thinking too much. Sterling and Tallery both are very intelligent, but that intelligence can lead to overthinking, which can lead to them facing decision paralysis over simple choices. Sterling understands Tallery's tendency to overthink, and throughout her life has always attempted to share his strategies for overcoming those issues. When Tallery's head is racing, her father is always the person she'll turn to help ground herself. Emotionally, these two understand each other on a deeper level. So Tallery has always been particularly close with Sterling, and Sterling has always had a soft spot for Tallery. Check back in tomorrow to see what characters I draw next, and if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. Welcome to day 54 of drawing Wynella and Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we'll be drawing Tallery and her mother, Avaria. Avaria is a very attentive mother. She prides herself on her ability to spend time with each of her children, of which she has 4. She thinks that the time spent with her children are her most valuable hours. When it comes to Tallery in particular, Avaria enjoys doing little activities to pamper themselves. When Tallery was littler, that looked like having tea parties, where they talked about all of the drama in the lives of Tallery's toys. Nowadays, the pampering activities they do together look more like lounging in a hot tub or dressing up nice to go out to eat. I won't give any specific details yet, but Tallery will have some magic abilities that will be revealed later into the series. And that magic comes from her mother. Avaria, having experienced learning how to master her magic, was the best parent to help Tallery learn to manage her own. There's a close bond between the two due to this mutual understanding, and Avaria's effort and investment into Tallery from a young age. Check back in tomorrow to see what character I draw next. And if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. Welcome to day 55 of Drawing Wynella Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we'll be drawing Tallery and her father Clayton. Clay is considered to be the fun dad, not because Sterling isn't fun, but Clay just has a certain sense of childlike wonder that makes him the best at helping everyone let loose and be wild. Tallery is not stuck up by any means, but she did inherit some caution from her other parents that Clay had to learn how to navigate. He's more of a roughhouse kind of father, and Tallery is more of a be gentle kind of hit. Despite this difference in their personalities, Clay has always been very good about having fun with Tallery in a way she can handle, and being sure to include ways for her to have fun, even when her more energetic siblings want to do more extreme activities. Clayton has mastered the art of facilitating a good time, and Tallery has hundreds of happy memories because of him. Check back in tomorrow to see what character I draw next. And if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release. Welcome to day 56 of Drawing Wynella Mooshie Characters until we finally release our pilot. Today we'll be drawing Barker and his father, Orville. Unlike Tallery, who I've highlighted in the last few videos, Barker did not grow up with a parent as attentive and loving. Barker was somewhat pushed onto Orville, and Orville never really learned to see Barker as much more than a resource that he had to take account for. I say resource loosely, since more often than not, Orville saw Barker as more of a burden than anything else. Sure, in Orville's mind, the kid could be used as a more sympathetic angle for his cons, but as soon as Barker needed his dad to provide for his needs, Orville was questioning whether or not having a kid around was worth it. Orville was put out by every basic need Barker required, and truly, he has very few fond memories of his father. Like I said, a stark contrast from Wynella or Tallery, both of whom had very happy childhoods. Check back in tomorrow to see what character I draw next. And if these characters seem interesting to you, I hope you'll take a moment to see what other fun characters and content we have cooking up as we wait for our pilot to release.